I'm doing this one because I'm trying out a new light. Normally I would do this kind of thing and I obviously wouldn't post it. I'd just check it. I'd bring it in, I'd look at it and see how it looks. And what I've done is I've made a new light. I've lowered it down. It's the same light from above. The old one was wider. It had two of these strips in there. Right here. I took those out and I cut one in half and reconfigured it into a shorter arrangement so you got one light shining more directly in my face. Because I found that with the camera in this arrangement right here and other places, like when I'm standing up by the lumber rack up there, my face looks really dark, right? Not that I'm, a movie star or anything, but for consistency throughout the program, I would like to brighten that up. So I made this light, and I'll try it out, see how it looks. Kind of an interesting reaction I got to the video I made earlier today, because this is later in the evening. It's like, I don't know, around 8 o'clock. I was reading through some of the comments, and I don't know, do you ever get cold sores? I get one maybe once or twice a year, ever since I was like a teenager, or even maybe when I was in my, young teens. Like it pops up over here or over here, and it sticks around for a couple of weeks, and then it goes away. We call it an eruption, right? So I kind of look at my videos that I like, the one I posted earlier, in that same way. That was like an eruption of my sense of humor, the dark side of my sense of humor, which has to come out because it's a natural thing with me, okay? And it's really suppressed when I'm doing this stuff for YouTube because, I play it straight, video after video after video after video, because that's what people want. Most people don't have a sense of humor. And even more people, like even fewer people, have an appreciation for my type of sense of humor, which I will admit, kind of drifts into off color, I guess would be the best way to put it, and yeah, I think it's funny, like what I said about safety, because there's so much of it now. That when there's so much of something, people like me have to go against it, okay? It's not really the sentiment behind it. It's the constant, be safe, be safe, be safe. That people like me have to go against that, okay? They have to, right? And so why do I do that? It's that eruption thing. That's what I'm talking about. It's that eruption. It has to come out. It has to come out. Right? And occasionally I've got to be honest with you here. Occasionally I'll come out and I'll record videos that never make it onto YouTube just to let that out. Even just the fact, like the act of recording it sometimes is enough. But not always, okay? Sometimes it has to come out. You can almost, time them. It seems like every few months I'll put one out. Those are eruptions of cold sores, right? My evil sense of humor has to come out. So, but with that said, I wasn't completely joking about what I said. I mean, an excess of safety is not good. It's not good. Like, my direct reference there was the virus, of course, and not the herpes one. But here in Canada, I think there have been like 1,500 deaths since this thing got rolling. 1,500, and I'm not trying to minimize that. Okay, to say, wow, only 1,500, but really it is, because when you compare it to other things, it is relatively low, and other things that claim a lot more people. We don't shut the economy down for that. We don't force people to stay at home for that. So, I don't know. You got to look at it this way. 1,500 people died from that. How many people have lived as a result of the car accidents that are not happening for people not driving to work? because, you know, when I was driving to work in Toronto from up here, when I used to do that, like you pass a couple of car wrecks every day, and there'd be people badly injured. It could be people killed. So how many of those have not happened? You know, and on the flip side, how many people have sunk into depression because they're stuck at home and they can't do things? Like, I'm okay with this. Like, I've talked about this before. This is my world, right? This isolation shit. I can do this day and night, you know, 24/7. But some people can't. They have to have contact. You know, they have to have they have to be with people. You know, they have to go out and do something. Otherwise, they start to lose it, right? So you got to feel for those people. And, you know, if you throw a blanket over the whole thing and you force everyone to stay home with the idea that it's going to stop this thing, I think that's the wrong move. Like I said that from the beginning, that's the wrong move. The best way to handle this is to isolate the people that it will affect the most, the people that are most at risk, and let everybody else go out and get it. Like, if you're a young person, young, healthy person, sorry, but you're an idiot if you're afraid of this, because it's not lethal to you. Most people will have flu symptoms, and a number of people have had it and said it's exactly like the flu, okay, and recovered from it. It's the older people, the people at risk. Those are the people that should be isolated. That's where all the focus should be. And my biggest thing was that we've had plenty of warnings on this. You know, we had SARS here in 2003. Like, that was a big deal. Like, I think 8,000 people died from that. And, like, I was working in Toronto. People were going around with what they're calling SARS masks on. It didn't bother me. You know, like, I could have got it, but I knew it probably wouldn't kill me, all right? Even though that was way more lethal than this thing that we have now. But the point is that, like, we've had plenty of warnings on this stuff. There's no excuse for a reasonable action plan to already be in place that you follow to the letter. You enact it in good times when there's no threat. And then when the threat comes, you follow through. And if anybody's crying about it, saying, oh, well, you're letting the people die, you say, this is the action plan we all agreed to do. You understand? And the action plan is to isolate the people that are most affected. You keep them inside. And that would, in this case, it would be older people, you know, that are most susceptible to this thing. Young people, children, like, it doesn't even affect them. So why are you keeping them in? Like, why are you keeping those locked in the house? You know, they're not going to overrun the hospital if you keep them out and treat them like they have the flu. Okay? So, okay, here's another thing. Imagine, if you will, if this was a real biological threat, like if this was a biological weapon, how badly prepared we would be. Like, we would be wiped out. Wiped out, we'd be ruined. Imagine if this, okay, even just a little bit down from that. Imagine if this was killing kids. Okay, how bad it would be. But it's not. It's killing old people. And I'm not saying old people deserve to die or anything. Don't get confused about that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you isolate, you protect, you quarantine older people so that they cannot get it, okay? And you let everybody else get it, because everybody else is going to get it anyway.